Welcome to the Truth Seekers Podcast. I'm your host Josh, and today's episode is a special one, a prelude to the Christmas season. We'll uncover the truth hidden in the shadows of the holiday tradition. So have you ever stopped and asked yourself, why do we celebrate the way we do? Why the trees, the lights, the songs, and even the timing of it all? Are these elements purely Christian? Or have they been borrowed from something much older? Beneath the surface of history, hidden in ancient text, and obscured by time, lies a story waiting to be uncovered. Together, let's explore the origins of the Christmas season and the traditions we all hold so dear. Now, as we go through this, I want you to ask yourself, can the birth of Christ redeem a holiday that has been shaped by pagan traditions and commercialism? Or have we allowed the shadows of these traditions to obscure its true meaning? This isn't just a podcast. It's a quest for truth. And it starts now. Now, I want to begin at the very root of the season, the winter solstice. Held on December 21st or 22nd, which usually marks the longest night of the year in the Northern Hemisphere. For Asian people, this was a very significant event. I mean, think about it. You're stuck, it's cold, you have no electricity, no central heating, and the sun, your very source of life, just seemed to run away. For them, the solstice wasn't about astronomy. It was more spiritual. While in ancient Rome, they celebrated Saturnalia. From December 17th to the 23rd, this week-long festival honored Saturn, the god of agriculture. With feasting, gift-giving, and merrymaking, what's fascinating about Saturnalia was social norms were flipped upside down. Masters served their slaves, and the laws were temporarily relaxed. This reversal of roles hinted at a longing for balance in a chaotic world. Now I want to take our journey further north. The Norse people celebrated Yule. Beginning on December 21st, Yule was a celebration of the sun's rebirth, symbolized by fire and light, evergreens and mistletoe. Key symbols of Yule represented life and vitality in the midst of winter's death. Feasting, storytelling, and sacrifices to the gods ensured the return of longer days. So here's the question. How did these celebrations become intertwined with Christmas? When Christianity spread, it wasn't overnight. Early Christians faced many tasks of converting entire cultures. Often adapted to local traditions, they placed the celebration of Christ's birth near the winter solstice. Not because we know Jesus was not born on December 25th, but because it aligned symbolically with his coming as the light of the world and overcoming darkness. I want you to take the time to think about this. What does it mean for Christ to be the light of the world in a time when the sun's rebirth was already celebrated? Was it a strategic choice by early churches to guide pagans toward faith? Or was it something deeper, a fulfillment of humanity's longing for light? Fire. It's primal, it's life-giving, and it's destructive, all at once. The Yule log. A centerpiece of Norse and Celtic winter solstice traditions, embodies all of this. For the Norse people, the burning of the Yule log wasn't just about warmth. It was deeply symbolic. Each spark that flew from its log as it burned was believed to represent a new calf or piglet born in the coming year, a promise of life and abundance. People also carved symbols into the logs, offering prayers for protection, fertility, and often good fortune. But that's not all that fire was seen for. It was also seen as a purifier, chasing away evil spirits during the darkest time of the year. Think about the Celtics, who would light massive bonfires during Yule as part of their ritual to cleanse and protect their homes and families. Now, when Christianity began to take over these regions, the Yule log was transformed and it became a symbol not of the sun god Balder, but of Christ himself, the light that came into the world to dispel all darkness. Families would burn the Yule log to celebrate Jesus' birth and reflect on his light that overcame the spiritual darkness. Even today, though the log has largely become symbolic, like the Yule cake we're serving during Christmas dinner, it carries a deeper truth. In a world often filled with shadows and darkness, we are all drawn to warmth and light that brings hope. Next, we're going to look into one of the more festive symbols of Christmas, the tree. Have you ever wondered why we bring these trees into our homes and put them up in our living room, decorate them with lights and bulbs and all kinds of ornaments, and then place gifts underneath them? This tradition has roots that stretch back to pagan Europe. For the Norse people, the Celts, and even the Romans, the evergreens were a symbol of life, renewal, and fertility. In a season where everything was withering away and dying, the evergreen tree stood as a defiant symbol of life's persistence. The Norse Yule celebrations often involved decorating their homes with evergreen trees and branches to ward off any evil spirits. The Celts believed that mistletoe, holly, and ivy had magical properties to protect them against darkness and disease. The Christmas tree, as we know it, is thought to have originated in Germany in the 16th century. Legend has it that Martin Luther, walking home one winter night, was struck by the beauty of the stars shining through the branches of an evergreen tree. Inspired, he brought the tree into his home and decorated with candles to represent the light of Christ. As the tradition began to spread across Europe, eventually to America, the tree became a symbol of the tree of life, representing both hope of the eternal life and the promise of Christ's sacrifice on the cross. So here's a question. When you decorate your tree, will you think of it just as a holiday tradition? Or will you see it as a symbol of life, renewal, and the eternal hope that Christ offers? Now, we can't talk about Christmas without talking about the most iconic, money-grabbing symbol for all the Christmas season. Yes, the fat man in the red suit.
Merry Christmas!
Delivering gifts on Christmas Eve, he has become a global symbol of joy and generosity. But his origins tell more of a complex and fascinating story. Santa Claus, as we know him, is a blend of historical and mythical figures. The most prominent inspiration is Saint Nicholas, a 4th century bishop from Myra, and now what is called Turkey. Known for his jolliness and generosity, Saint Nicholas was famous for his acts of kindness, particularly toward children and the poor. One legend tells of how he secretly left gold coins in a stocking of 3 impoverished sisters, saving them from their grim fate. As Christianity continued to spread, the legend of St. Nicholas also grew, and his feast day on December 6th became a time of gift-giving and celebration, particularly in Europe. But here's where things get interesting. As his story spread across cultures, St. Nicholas began to merge with older traditions. In Northern Europe, pagan figures like Woden or Odin played a role in the evolution of Santa. Odin, the chief god of Norse mythology, was said to lead a wild hunt, a ghostly procession through the skies during the winter solstice. Children would leave him treats, and even his horse, Sleipnir, in hopes of receiving gifts in return. Sound familiar? Now, when Dutch settlers brought their traditions of Sinterklaas to the Americas, it began to take new life. By the 19th century, writers like Washington Irving and Clement Clark Moore shaped the modern image of Santa Claus. Moore's 1823 poem, A Visit from St. Nicholas, better known as 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, many of the elements that we associate with Santa Claus today. The sleigh, the reindeer, and his cheerful, round demeanor. The final piece of Santa's transformation came in the 20th century through advertising. Through many companies, the modern image of Santa dressed in red with a twinkling smile and red rosy cheeks became a cultural icon. But what does Santa Claus represent beyond the commercialized version that we see today? At his core, Santa symbolizes generosity, joy, and the spirit of giving. For Christians, how can he also remind us of St. Nicholas, his Christ-like compassion and selflessness? So as you go through and see images of Santa this year, ask yourself, what do I celebrate? The commercialized figure or the deeper message of giving and love that he originally stood for? How can we reclaim the joy and generosity of the season without losing sight of its true meaning? Now, for all you seekers out there who like a little bit of a darker story, here's where our story takes a little bit of a darker slide. Krampus. The half-goat, half-demon figure from Alpine folklore represents the shadow of the season. While good old St. Nicholas was out rewarding all the good children, Krampus was out punishing the naughty ones. Often with a birch rod or a terrifying trip in his sack, his origins are tied to the ancient fertility gods of the winter spirits that symbolize chaos and darkness. The early church, rather than embracing Krampus, incorporated him into the St. Nicholas tradition, perhaps as a reminder that light and darkness coexist, but ultimately the light prevails. Krampus serves as a stark contrast to the joy and the hope of Christmas, reminding us of humanity's struggle with sin and the need for redemption. And as we wrap up today's journey of the Christmas traditions, I want to challenge you guys to take a moment this holiday season and reflect on the origins and the customs that you celebrate? Do you see the shadows of the pagan past, or do you see the redemption through Christ that they actually get? Christmas is a story of light breaking into darkness, of hope overcoming despair. If Christ can redeem mankind, can't he also redeem a holiday? Now, before we go, I have some exciting news that I can't wait to share with you. We've officially launched a Patreon for the Truth Seekers podcast. This is your chance to dive even deeper into our quest for truth, while becoming a part of something truly special. But wait, there's more. As one of the first 100 seekers to join, you'll not only lock in a lifetime rate of just $3 a month, but you'll become part of the founding circle of the True Seekers podcast, our inner circle. You're not just supporting the podcast, you're helping shape it, growing with us as we uncover mysteries together. So what can you expect as being a part of the Patreon? You can expect exclusive content that you won't hear anywhere else, early access to episodes, some fun behind the scene moments that show you what really goes on this wild journey of discovery. Plus, there might be some surprises along the way. Because what's a quest for truth without a little mystery? By joining, you're not just signing up, you're stepping into a community of passionate, curious people, like-minded like you. Together, we'll explore the depths of scripture, history, and the unknown, and while having a little fun along the way. So what do you say? Are you ready to take that next step and become as part of something bigger? Head over to Patreon, lock in that special rate, and let's make a journey that will be unforgettable. The truth is waiting. So are we. And I want to thank you guys for joining me on today's adventure. If you found this episode interesting, I ask you to leave a comment or review. It helps this get out there and bring others to truth. So let's keep seeking truth together. And until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and as always, stay truthful.